Hey guys, this is Tiny Goliath, welcoming you to a really ugly computer. This is my recently acquired Silicon Graphics Octane workstation computer. This was released back in 1997 and is the bigger brother of my other computer, the Silicon Graphics, or the SGI Octane, which I have in the room. I'm pointing to the right, but it's to my front. I'm actually facing this way to the camera. This is a Unix-based MIPS processor, architecture, whatever you want to call it, workstation. Back in 1997, when this system launched, I believe its base price was anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000, depending on how you kitted these things out. Keep that in comparison. I got this for about $400, so it's depreciated quite a bit. And as you can see, it doesn't have any drive bays or anything at the front, but that's actually a funny little feature. This has a little front-mounted swiveling, like it swivels, side or front door. And if I zoom the camera in a bit here and raise it just ever so slightly, like that, you can see it has a ventilation hole, and it has ventilation holes right here, and the door also doubles as a vent too, which is really cool. It has two expansion bay doors for not so much CD-ROM drives, but if I'm not mistaken, you could get a tape drive. Yeah, you could get a tape drive, and I don't know what else could go in here. I think there were like different, I don't know. There were things you could buy for it. And another cool thing is this is spring-loaded. If I zoom the camera back out here, I can also show you at the front here, it's got two little tabs at the front side here that I can take off the front panel, and you can see a cooling vent for the front plane. There's a fan behind here, the light bar, and the expansion slots. I don't have a hard drive in here yet, so you can see this is a Revision 1 SCSI hard drive caddy. It's got the release thing for that. I do have a SCSI hard drive right here, but this is for my O2. It's got the swivel lock mechanism for the vertically mounted tray mechanism, which is kind of cool. At the bottom here, right there, you can see there's what's supposed to be LEDs for diagnostic LEDs, which is nice. So I'll put this back together and flip it around for you guys. Get it back. So this is a nifty little system. I believe Linux also runs on this. As you can see, my hair. My hair is so long. Oh, Jesus. And I also forgot to mention this thing weighs like 60 pounds. Soaking wet. Let me recenter that. There we go. We've got the hard drive cooling fan, the system cooling fan slash power supply cooling fan. This pretty much cools your entire system, so it has to push the most air out of the system. It's got a little quick release knobs at the bottom here, and I can pull it out like that. It's a pretty big system. Let me set that aside. Where did I put my screwdriver? I am not organized. No, just like all my videos. I do want to warn you that these are incredibly delicate systems. In spite of, as you can see, it's made out of cast material, which is the large reason why this thing weighs so freaking much. Anyways, I'm going to, it also received a little bit of damage in shipping. The screw for securing the top rail here is a little bit bent. But that was nothing I couldn't work with a little bit of elbow grease and a good screwdriver. This is, however, not the screwdriver that I would recommend using. These old-ass screwdrivers. I will only take this apart briefly because the connectors on the inside of this are a little bit on the delicate side. Come on out of there, you little devil. There we go. We have here I believe a MIPS R10000 CPU here. It's a single unit. You can equip this with up to 2 units. So basically a dual computer processing unit system. And I think there's 256 megabytes of RAM access memory in here. I'm not 100% sure because I don't have the video port connector, the 13W3 connector that you're supposed to use to adapt it to VGA. I believe these are clocked at 200 megahertz or 300 megahertz stock. I don't quite remember. I'll have to double check that. But as you can see around the front here, you've got several different connector types that connect it to the front plane that's on the inside of the unit here. You can kind of see on the inside there. It uses something called an IBM compression fitting. This you do not want to touch. Neither of the components, either on the inside or the outside, you want to touch at all, because you will more than likely ruin your system. Now, these boards are the more expensive components. It weighs next to nothing too. So I'm going to just put this back in the system. And pretend it never came out. There we go. I'm going to have to test this afterwards to make sure that everything is still working. I did just completely take this thing apart, and this is like my 3rd time taking it apart, so that's kind of nice. Let me show you the graphics board. I would put this into separate videos explaining it, but seeing as this is live and uncut, and typical of me, I am just going to do this the way I always have, so stick with me here. Come on, you. It's a nice system, I'll give it that. Silicon Graphics designed good systems back in the day. Right here is the one of 4 expansion slots. This is the oh, that's warm to the touch. It also has the compression connectors, as well as the here, let me zoom in there. It locks it in place, so it just forces it against the connector. I don't know what is this. I think might be impact graphics, but it doesn't have any texture memory. You can get a expansion board so you can plug into these little headers here. But there's all sorts of things you can get for this system. You can get anywhere from video capture boards to gigabit Ethernet things, if anybody wants to get like super fast internet or whatever. But that, for me, is mostly irrelevant. Plus, of course, you can upgrade the graphics. When I'm able to get this thing up and running, I might be able to kind of demonstrate what this thing can do. I don't want to go into the process of installing IRIX on here because finding the install media for this and getting it to work is stupidly hard and expensive. Like, pretty much as expensive as buying the computer itself. Gotta make sure I align this thing properly. Otherwise it's not going in. Is it in? There we go. There we go. Alright guys. As you can see, it also has, it's got the handle there for pulling everything out. It also has a PCI card bus slot. It's a big box that would stick out of the unit almost as far as the power supply that's to my left here. You've got your RCA audio in and out, your coaxial audio in and out here, audio input for microphone and headset or speakers. You've got your Toslink connectors in and out, your SCSI, external SCSI connector, your 10x100 Ethernet port. I believe this is a proprietary video connector. I'm not 100% sure. I think it is parallel SCSI, but I'll have to look up on that. You've got your PS2 keyboard and mouse connectors here, and your serial port. Your just standard null modem or diagnostic or serial mouse connector. As you saw on the board here, there's a longer connector here called a 13W3. It's kind of like VGA, but not really, but it is adaptable to it. And this is a 3D glasses adapter. I don't know why, kind of virtual reality was kind of the experimental thing back in the day, but those are insanely rare and hard to find. Let's just make sure this is all seated in there properly. Yeah, I think it is. Let me just screw it back in here, and I'll turn it around and maybe just turn it on to see, just to show you maybe it working, kind of. I hope it doesn't give me any error lights. I will enjoy it if it doesn't, because if it doesn't, that means it'll probably be one of the last times I take the system apart until I get either replacement components or anything else of the sort. Should have just used a fucking drill, but I don't have time for that. We're disorganized to Goliath up in this crap. I don't have time to, well I do, but I don't have time to risk ruining this stuff. This is extremely low-end hardware, but it's by today's standards, but it is extremely well built. Let's get the power supply back in there. Ooh, this is hard to do when you're on the floor. As you can see, it's highly modular. You can almost swap everything out on the fly if you need to. Let me turn it around and I'll plug it in. I'll need to remove the front panel for this too. The relay in there clicked, that's a good sign. Power supply is not dead yet. And all my green connection lights at the bottom there are lit up. That's good. And the red LED. Oh, a funny thing about the light strip here is that it uses, there's one LED, but for some reason Silicon Graphics decided to go with incandescent light bulbs. Tiny little incandescent light bulbs. Let's see if I can show you guys. There we go. These tiny ass little, those there are little tiny light bulbs that are in there. Those have the tendency to burn out. Now if these aren't burnt out on my end, because I have no way to test them yet, because I don't have a hard drive with anything on it yet, I will be replacing them with the proper or color of LEDs. So anyways, with everything in there, there we go. See if I can front panel back on. Locks into place. And it's turned off. I will be releasing a part 2 to this once I get everything all sorted out and maybe kind of running. I can show you the menu interface for the boot screen. It's quite unique. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. This is kind of on the whim here. I don't typically do my tech videos. I've done maybe 1 or 2 other unboxings on the channel. I've done some Sound Blaster stuff, some other computer hardware stuff, I think. Just look around on the channel and you might be able to find it. It's cool stuff. Anyways, this has been Tiny Goliath and my Silicon Graphics Octane. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe if you guys want more. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye!